Hey guys, F1Motor26 here, and welcome to AOR round 14 for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And the reason that there's no Japan or USA is because I was on holiday for the past 2 weeks, and therefore I missed those races. So now coming to start our qualifying lap through turn 2, I've had a massive slide there, somehow managing to save it, but unfortunately that basically means our lap is over. So I'm going to have a look at that slide in slow motion. You see, clipping the curb nicely there, but that just unsettled the car a bit on the exit. Turning left to try and control it, but that puts the car even more sideways, and we have to go full opposite lock there to save the car. But yeah, that lap wasn't great. It was only a 10.7, so we'll now come to see my second and fastest lap of the session. As you can see, we're currently sitting in 7th place, behind Coldhead and ahead of Lucky Dog. And also something that I forgot to mention is for the American Grand Prix, Dizzy has been allowed back in the league after he was removed after Hungary due to his connection being broken and causing lots of incidents. So coming through the centre S's, this time we nail it right on the white line through turn 2, and I think we've got the maximum speed possible out of there as we head down the DRS straight towards the end of sector 1. And as you can see, we're actually up on Dizzy Cooper's time by 1/10 and a quarter through sector 1, but I highly doubt we'll be able to maintain that throughout the rest of the lap. So coming into the fast double right-hander here, and we missed the apex a little bit. It hasn't cost us too much, but maybe half a tenth or so as we now come into that right-hander. I don't know any of the corner names, and the long left now, trying to get on the power as early as possible without having any wheel spin, and this difficult right-hander once again spotting the apex nicely as we come through the flat left-hander where Grosjean spun out in 2012 into the final proper corner. And as you can see, we're now 3.5 tenths down in Dizzy, but we have improved our middle sector a bit, and we just need to nail the last sector now. As we head up the straight, we're going to go for the straight run to the line to get to carry the shortest route possible. As you can see now, going straight to the line, and the time is a 1 minute 10.352, which puts us 5th on the grid because Burnout improved at the last minute. So Dizzy gets pole with a 1.95, with Sarah Rosberg in 2nd, Hamilton in 3rd, Burnout 4th, myself in 5th, 2 tenths ahead of Midget, with Franglish in 7th and Big C in 8th. Coldhead only 9th and Lucky Dog only 11th. And he was out-qualified by Finch, who was on the prime. So it looks like the Red Bull guys, who we are fighting in the Constructors, don't have so much pace around Brazil. So then looking at the grid, you can see Taylor, Oasis and Troy didn't set a time in qualifying, and Taylor had actually disconnected before the race. So we have 14 people on the grid for today's race, which is still a very good number considering this game is now over a year old. And there you go, running through the grid once again as we have a look at what the game is going to tell us is the race strategy. The game is telling us a 3-stop, which is the right strategy. I might change the primes stint around and put it as the 3rd stint instead of the last stint. But as you can see now, the lights are coming on, and it's actually raining a little bit, so this is going to make the race extra interesting. And shock, we've got a massive lag start. We've lost a place to Midget and Big C, who's host, and we've got Franglish coming around the outside. So we're down to 8th, but we're going to try and hold it up the inside. We lose the back end there and cut the corner a little bit, so we had to lift off to allow Franglish back through now, as we're running side by side through the last part of the centre S, and we're back up into 7th place. As Franglish appears to have better straight line speed than us as we head towards the end of the first sector. Big C and Midget going side by side, and I've had to lift off the throttle mid-corner, which is going to give Franglish a run. So we're going to go to the outside there, but no, Franglish has actually hit us and gone into the wall, and if you look very closely on my screen, there wasn't actually any contact, so that's very unfortunate, and I do apologise to Franglish if he is watching, as that was a bit of a lag incident, and it has ruined his race basically. We went up the inside there of Big C, but we couldn't make the move stick, and then we think about going up the inside again here, but we weren't really close enough, so that wasn't really necessarily the most clever move, as it's not given us the greatest of exits. As we head down towards the final corner, and Lucky Dog has actually hit us there, but it hasn't compromised us at all as we head down the extra long pit straight, which isn't really a straight for the most part, but it's flat out, and we're going to try and go around the outside of Big C into turn 1, and we should get that move done easily. But no, I've missed my braking point by a mile, which is probably due to it being wet and the fact that I'm still rubbish without the racing line, and Big C has been able to go back past now as we head down the DRS straight. I'm going to go to the inside this time, and hopefully we can spot our braking point nicely, which we do, and we just get the move done there ahead of Big C. And hopefully he can now defend from Lucky Dog, because I expect, despite his poor qualifying pace, Lucky Dog is actually very quick in the race. And now coming to the end of lap 5, there's a car in the pits, and that is Sarah Hamilton. And actually, the game was glitched, and it wasn't showing the me when people had disconnected. And Sarah Rosberg actually disconnected. You could have seen this car off to the side at turn 1 there, which means we're now actually up into P4, but that's a net P5 because Sarah Hamilton has pitted for what I can only assume is the Inters. And now on lap 6 we're coming up to the Mighty Midget, and we're actually up into P2 because Burnout and whoever else was... No, Burnout has come into the pit lane, and we're now up into P2 ahead of Midget, and it's actually a 1-2 for Mercedes for the first time, so that's quite nice to see. But Dizzy is obviously about 12 seconds ahead at this point. Oh no, it's actually not that far, he's only 6 seconds ahead. But now as we come to the end of lap 7, Dizzy's coming to the pits for intermediates, but I don't think it's quite time yet to come into the pits, so I'm going to continue and lead the race actually, which is nice because that doesn't really happen very often. And yeah, obviously I couldn't really come in either because I would have been held up in the pits, but yeah, so we're leading this race now, and that'll be my first lap that I've led in AOR F1, so that's a bit of a nice statistic there. But now that lap now has to come to an end, and we're into the pit lane once again, and unfortunately Midget disconnected at some point on that lap, so that means we're no longer in a fight with him as we're putting on a set of intermediates. And from our pace, I think we actually are reasonably quick, but obviously I haven't done any wet practice, which most people don't do, I think, so hopefully I'll still be reasonably quick and not completely mess up every braking zone. But coming out the pits, we hit them all very hard, and we're quite lucky there not to get any damage, and Burnout goes past, so we've actually jumped Sarah Hamilton. He clearly went for the Inters too early, and we're now up into P3. And now coming to the end of lap 10, as you can see ahead, Burnout is actually battling with another car, and that's Franglish who's a lap down, which is obviously very unfortunate for him. But this is holding Burnout out a lot, as you can see. They're going side by side there as we're now on to lap 12, and Burnout is just managing to hold him off for the time being. But this is what's keeping me in the race really, because I think Burnout has much superior pace to me. My pace in the wet wasn't amazing, so I think without Franglish being right behind Burnout, I would have dropped back a lot. And as you can see, Troy has also just disconnected there, so that moves me up into, well, it doesn't move me up anywhere, but he was a lap down as well. So yeah, that's another driver out of this race, as we're now only down to 12 runners, but all of these 12 runners currently in the race do finish, I believe. As now on lap 14, you can see there's another car there, as Lucky Dog has come to join the party with Franglish, as I think he crashed on the pit lane exit. So that means Burnout now has two very quick people behind him, and they're battling over position as well. And if they're quicker than Burnout, they're going to try and get past. So this is a very interesting development for the race really, because I've never been in this situation before where I've been lapping someone who's actually quicker than me. As now as we come to the end of lap 14, asking Jeff for the weather forecast, and you can see that AOR Raikkonen is now in 4th, because I think Sarah Hamilton has gone for another pit stop onto the intermediates once again. And as you can see, there's a car coming out of their pits now, and that's actually Coldhead, the other Red Bull. So Red Bull are currently down in 10th and 12th, so only 1 point for them at the moment. And there's been contact up ahead with Franglish and Lucky Dog, and they have spun out there, which is probably a good thing for me, because I think I was catching them slowly. I didn't want to have to be in a battle with them. And at the end of lap 15, Burnout comes into the pit lane, but we're going to go on for another lap because we still feel our tyres have enough left. But now at the end of lap 16, we're going to come into the pit lane. Dizzy, unfortunately, has also come in on this lap, but he should be far enough ahead so that we don't get held up as we come into the pit lane. now slowing it down. Obviously the game does that for you, and hopefully we're not going to get held up too much, but we've lost about a second there, as it's a 3.8, I think that is. I can't quite read that second stop, so I suspect we'll lose that. Yeah, Burnout's already gone past, and that just shows that the undercut is very powerful around here, but this could mean that Burnout struggles at the end of the stint, as hopefully we can negotiate the pit exit without blowing up, because I think that's what's happened to quite a few people in this race, which is why they've ended up a lap down so early on. So we're currently in P3, and now cutting on to lap 19. Cyril Hamilton has been slowly catching us as we come through the final proper corner. We've got caught up on the curb there, and we've lost the back end, which is going to lose us a handful of time, because we're going to be losing out all the way down the straight. And that was a very weird incident, really. I didn't take a huge amount of curb, and I didn't apply any more power than usual. But now on lap 21, we're going to be coming into the pits for a set of option tyres. Dizzy has also come in this lap, but he's miles ahead now. But Burnout stayed out, so maybe if we've made the right strategy as Cyril Hamilton comes in behind, strategy call as Cyril Hamilton is behind us there, we can jump Burnout. But he was quite a long way ahead after that mistake, I think 7 or 8 seconds. But hopefully now for the remaining 14 laps we can hold off Cyril Hamilton for the podium, final podium place, because I don't think we'll have the pace over Burnout. So unless we gain position on him in these stops, I think we'll be settling for third, really, as we now come to the end of lap 22, and Burnout is now in the pits. And watch this dot on the mini-map. As you can see, a dot on the pit exit has actually spun and crashed into the wall. So I think Burnout there, as we've got a penalty, which was quite harsh, but then we did cut the next corner quite a lot, so I was surprised I didn't get a warning for that. But yeah, in the process of getting a penalty, I didn't actually notice at the time that Burnout had crashed in the pit exit. So that now promotes me into second place, and it gives us a 1-2 really for Mercedes at the moment. And if I can hold off Cyril Hamilton, that is, as Dizzy sets a ridiculous lap in 11.3, which is more than a second quicker than my best. But yeah, the penalty I don't think will have too much impact, because I believe Cyril Hamilton does have a penalty as well, but I just need to be extra careful not to get another one. And now on lap 25, Cyril Hamilton is right behind us. The last few laps I've been able to keep a gap around 8 or 9 tenths, so he couldn't get past on the straights, but I'm pretty sure this time he will get past. I'm going to hold the racing line and let him go up the inside, and he's come across on us there, and I've decided to turn right and cut in the corner, because I think if I continued on a normal line we would have been both spun out. So I took the evasive action, and we got an illegal overtake for that, but we're now giving the place back to him, and if we can stick with him we'll try and use the DRS once again to get back past him. And now, as you can see, at the end of lap 26, we're still within DRS range, so we might be able to have a shot at him down into turn 1. I believe he was running higher wings than me. I was running 2-1 wings, and we're going to go for the dive up the inside, but he just cuts across us there and kills our momentum, so that's not really going to be a feasible move into turn 1, so we're going to have to try it into turn 4, as I'm just setting the option tyres. I don't think I'll come in this lap. I reckon I'll come in on the next lap, as we're not quite close enough at the end of that straight to make a move, but maybe we can just stick with him with the DRS, save our tyres, save a bit of fuel, and then maybe attack him later in the race. We don't really need to push at the moment. We seem to have reasonably similar pace to him, but he's actually made a mistake coming out of the final proper corner, and as did we. Unfortunately, we lost the back end, which means that we're not going to be quite able to get past him as easily as I would like. But this time we're going to go around the outside into turn 1, braking very late, but we still managed to get the car stopped, and we've actually managed to outbrake him quite nicely there, and we're now up into P2, and hopefully we can maintain this. I don't think he's close enough to make a move down into turn 4. No, I don't. Indeed he isn't, but this should easily be P2 and 3 for both of us, unless we crash or something, because AOR Raikkonen is quite a long way behind at this stage. But now at the end of lap 28, I've decided I've had enough of these tyres. I'm going to come into the pit lane, and Cyril Hamilton actually stays out, so maybe we can utilise the undercut here. As we saw earlier in the race, Burnout easily gained 3 seconds from his undercut. As looking at the race director, you can see Cyril Hamilton got a penalty on lap 1 there, corner cutting, and we're trying to find another penalty from him, but we couldn't find one just in case he had another one. But at the moment, we only have one penalty, as does he. So effectively, the penalties neutralise each other, and we don't have a penalty. So we need to really push on this lap, as AOR Icon has stayed out for another lap. We're going to have to put it up into Rich Mix and see if we can gain time and get him out of my DRS zone, so I can hold him off for the last 7 or so laps, nailing the curb there quite a lot as we now come towards the pit straight and the finish line to start lap 30. And where is he on the mini map? You can see him now. We're going to try and go around the outside of him into turn 1. Obviously he's on the pit lane, and yes, we appear to have got quite a big gap over them. As you can see, he's only coming round the corner in the pit lane now, so we easily have a 3-second gap on him, which is great news for us, because I think he was slightly quicker. But if we can manage to not lose too much time to him, we might just be able to hold on for this 2nd place then. So now on lap 35, we've made a huge mistake there. We've run very wide, and we've actually shifted down into 1st gear there, because normally I'm in 6th on the exit of that corner, but because we've gone wide, I was only in 5th gear. And that's cost us easily half a second. He's now right on the back of us now. So we're going to ride on board completely till the end of the race to see if we can hold on here for 2nd place. Dizzy Cupid's irrelevant. He's about 42 seconds up the road at the moment. So there's not a chance of us catching him unless he disconnects or something, which would be very unfortunate, and I'm sure that everyone would agree that he deserves the win if he did disconnect. But anyway, we appear to have a big enough gap over Cyril Hamilton at the moment as we start the final lap. We're going to have to push all the way to the finish line. We're marginal on fuel as well as we come through the centre S's there. We lose the back end and we get a very harsh exceeded track limits warning there. But there have been a couple of small cuts which have gone unnoticed, so I guess that they all even each other out. As when you come through the end of Sector 1, Cyril Hamilton has only one more chance to pass us now, and that's on the run to the line, which would be cruel luck for us if we are able to lose the position right at the last minute, as Dizzy Cupid has won the race once again. He's won every race that he's been allowed to participate in, and that means he is the champion for AOR F1, despite the fact that he missed 4 or 5 races. But anyway, we're coming through the final few corners now. Cyril Hamilton's closed up in the middle sector due to his higher wings, but we have one proper corner to go now as we break it down into that corner, clipping the curb nicely, getting on the power early with a good exit. He's reasonably close. We're going to go for the straight run to the line to make sure that we can maintain the 2nd place. He's still pretty close, but we are starting to pull away now due to our lower wings as we come across the line to take 2nd place here in Brazil. And unfortunately the game glitched, so we can't see the results screen, but there you go. Dizzy won with me in 2nd and Cyril Hamilton in 3rd. We can't see the timings due to the fact that the game glitched, but Franglish managed to fight back to claim 1 point, and Lucky Dog and Coldhead came only 8th and 9th. So thanks for watching, guys. Unfortunately, I won't be able to race in Abu Dhabi, so that will be my last race in AOR. So I'll see you for my next league race on F1 2016. Goodbye.